Welcome to the Philly 4 for 4 podcast, episode number 1. First episode of the series. I'm excited to get to work to be able to do this. I haven't made like a whole schedule for how I'm going to do it, when I'm going to upload, but I can tell you right now, today's a good day, and I'm so excited to get to work. And as I was getting ready, I was preparing to do this. I was, writing down my notes, taking notes on things, that happened, and stats. And Brad Keller signs with the Philadelphia Phillies. It's a 2-year deal worth $22 million. A good contract for him, for a very good player. I'll tell you that much. Last year, Brad Keller, he was pretty good. 2.07 ERA in 68 games. That's 69.2 innings. He had 75 strikeouts, too. That's a lot. And then a 0.96 whip, which is also really good. 3 saves as well. So last year he wasn't, again, their official closer, but he was a very high-leverage pitcher for them. And as I look at his baseball savant page, these are the pitches that he throws. The four-seam fastball is going to average 97.2, and he uses it 42% of the time. That's a lot of fastballs, but it's a good one if you've seen it. Then his slider, he throws it 17% of the time, and it's disgusting, an 87.2 mile per hour average. And again, it's disgusting. It's got really good movement to it. It's like the late break. Oh, it's disgusting. It's hard to hit. And then he throws a sweeper 14% of the time at 86.2, sinker at 14% of the time at 96.7, and then a changeup at 12% of the time, 92.7. So if you'll notice there, a lot of four-seamers as opposed to, and then he mixes the rest of the pitches pretty well. They're all around the same percentile. 17, 14, 14, and 12, and then 42 with the fastball. But it's a very good fastball, and it's exciting. So you're going to be looking at late in games next year. You're going to be looking at, depending on who comes up in the 7th and 8th inning, whether there's lefties or not, you'll have Alvarado, Keller, and then the 9th you'll have Duran. And then, Keller can come in and step in and close if Duran, has to needs a night off. It's a good signing for them. 2 years, 22, as I said earlier. 11 million AAV. Again, exciting stuff. Because last year in the postseason, they kind of ran out of arms late in the games, and you got to hope for a bounce back season from Kerkering, and there's a lot of other guys in that bullpen that I really like. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Tanner Banks. I know he's a guy that kind of made a name for himself last year. I thought he was very good when he came in, with runners on. He inherited those runners, and he was very good at it last year. I still don't know why Rob Thompson didn't put him in late in the game instead of Kerkering, who's, historically bad, and he's so young. But we're not talking about that anymore. It's the off season. We got to move on. Focusing on this year, and when I say this year, let's talk about a couple days ago. Adolis Garcia comes in on a 1-year, $10 million contract. A very good move, in my opinion. I mean, it's a low risk, high reward move. You're making this move. He's a very good defensive player. He had the most outs above average for any right fielders, including, great ones like Fernando Tatis Jr. He's good. He's got great power, and I think that he's going to abuse Citizens Bank Park. Last year, in 135 games, he hit 19 home runs, had 75 RBIs, and hit 227. Now, the batting average is something that's kind of hard to, I think, get up for him. My prediction for him this year would probably be around a 240 to 250 hitter, similar to Schwarber, and then I got him hitting closer to 30 home runs. I think that the smaller Citizens Bank Park is really going to help him. On top of that, there's a reason he's coming in on a 1-year deal. The opportunity is there. I think he's going to take advantage of it and get a bigger contract next year. Whether it's from the Phillies or not, I don't know. Now, he's turning 33 in March, so that's where I can see where people would be upset about this. Because, again, we have an older team. You got Bryce Harper, who's getting older. Trey Turner's getting older. You got Kyle Schwarber, who just extended for 5 years. He's getting older. It's an older team, the core of it. So signing Garcia, it only adds to that. But it's a 1-year deal worth $10 million. Now I know last year they couldn't cut Kepler for whatever reason when he was bad. He ended up being solid at the end of the year anyways. But He probably should have been cut last year. I don't know if they'll cut Adolis if he starts to struggle. I would hope they would. It's only a 1 year, $10 million contract. That's what I like about it. Is Middleton's rich. He can go out. He can cut him, and we can replace him at the deadline if need be. Now, again, I think Garcia is going to be good for us, but you never know. The biggest thing that stands out to me with Adolis Garcia is his postseason stats. A 323 hitter with 20 hits, 8 home runs, 22 RBIs. And again, he won the AL MVP in 23. So, good move, again, for the Phillies. I like both of these moves. Now, I'm not the biggest Dave Dombrowski fan. I really am not a huge fan of Dave Dombrowski, but I do like both of these signings. I think that, you have to go out and find people. As a general manager, you can't just go out and spend the big bucks. It's easy to be like the Dodgers general manager because you have infinite money. You have all this money. You can spend it here. If it doesn't work out, you can always just move it and spend it somewhere else. For the Phillies, who do have a huge payroll as well, the big signings, yeah, they're good, right? I like Trey Turner. I like Bryce Harper. I like Kyle Schwarber. They're all good players, and I think the contracts are fine. But it doesn't take a whole lot of, thinking to do that contract because you're just throwing the money at a guy. The way that I look at general managers, and this goes for any sport, isn't because of the big signings. Big signings are huge. Now, it's tough to negotiate. I'm nowhere near, a professional general manager. I'm not saying it's easy to do. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying for his skill set, for something that he's done for year after year, it's easier for him to do. In terms of making harder moves, you need to go out and find people. That's how I rate a general manager. Dombrowski has not been able to do that. Now, he found Sanchez. He found Bader. Bader was very good last year. When they traded for him, I remember sitting there on my couch and I was like, damn, they really signed Harrison Bader? We needed a better outfielder. I understand they didn't want a left-handed bat, but Harrison Bader? And guess what? Bader became one of my favorite players, and I'm still hoping, even though Dombrowski said the other night that the outfield was set, I'm still hoping that they bring him back. I thought he brought a spark to the lineup, great defense, and again, he hit so well last year for us. Bring him back, man. How do you let a guy like that walk? Now, I know the outfield market is kind of insane right now. You're taking a look at Yastrzemski getting $23 million from the Braves. Ugh, that's a terrible contract. They just paid Ha-Seong Kim $20 million for 1 year. Ha-Seong Kim was not good last year. But I think you got to go out and get him. And if I was the Phillies general manager, if I was Dave Dombrowski, what I'm doing with this outfield is I'm keeping Crawford in left. I'm signing Bader to go in center and Garcia in right field. You're getting rid of Castellanos one way or another. Trading him, cutting, whatever. You're going to have to eat that $20 million. It is what it is. You then, I think, you trade Marsh. The outfield market, as I just said, is going insane. A lot of different teams would love a left-handed, cheap bat. A guy who hit, 260 plus last year. He was very good for the Phillies last year. Pretty good for the Phillies. I'm not the biggest Brandon Marsh guy at all. I really am not a huge fan of Brandon Marsh, if I'm being honest with you. But, I do believe that you can get something for Brandon Marsh due to the age, and the potential there. There's still just a little bit of potential there. He's a good player. He's a solid player. He shouldn't be hitting anywhere near, fourth, fifth in the lineup. He should be down the lineup a little bit more, but still a good bet in that lineup if he was to be deeper. I think teams would trade for him. Now, whether you go out get a reliever, whether you go out get something for him, I don't know. Obviously, there's so much time in the offseason, and that leaves room for the Japanese free agents. Japanese free agents all are coming closer and closer to the end of their date, their posted date. So they have to sign now. Murakami's looking at the 22nd, December 22nd, so he's got 5 days to sign a contract. I haven't heard anything about it, which is insane, because over the past 2-3 years, all you heard about was Murakami. Hey, this kid's going to be insane. This kid's going to be amazing. The power. Now, there's no denying the power, but then a stat came out, well, he can't hit the fastball. Then recently, the stat was proved to be false. Hey, somebody took this sample size and kind of picked it out of nowhere. The stat is false. I don't know. Obviously, the MLB teams know better than that. They probably know already. I don't know where he's going to end up, though. I don't want him to be a Philly, if I'm being honest with you. He's a first baseman. He's not a third baseman. But But it's interesting to see because I'm interested. I don't know where he's going to sign. I could see Pittsburgh getting him. I could see the Angels getting him. I could see the Red Sox going after him. We'll see. It's exciting. Again, 5 days and not a lot of rumors about him. I've heard more rumors about. Let's talk about this guy, Tetsuya Imai. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I think I am. Today, the news came out that the Yankees and Cubs are expected to be finalists, which I'm pretty upset about because I like Tetsuya Imai. You take a look at his stats. He had a 1.92 ERA in 163 innings pitched last year in his league. And he's another one. Good stuff, plus fastball and good breaking balls. Now, he loves to throw that fastball. What I've heard is he's a psycho pitcher. He's a guy that's going to go out there. He's not afraid. And I love that about him. I would love the Phillies to sign him. Now, I don't know. I heard it's going from the $150 million to $200 million range. Now, I don't know if that money is there for the Phillies or not. I would assume it is because they're in the sweepstakes. They weren't named finalists, but they're still in the sweepstakes. I'm still hoping they can come out and get him. The other Japanese free agent is Kazuma Okamoto. I'm a pretty big fan of him as well. I like Okamoto. I do. I think he's actually going to be better than Murakami. I think that he's the better hitter in that category, I think. Plus, he's a third baseman. If the Phillies were to sign one of Okamoto or Murakami, or if I was to prefer one, I would choose Okamoto. Okamoto last year with Yamori hit 15 home runs, 49 RBIs, and a 327 average. Didn't play too much. He did get hurt 69 games last year. But again, a third baseman, which is what we need. If we were to get Okamoto, you can trade Bohm. Bohm is still a valuable player on the market in terms of a young third baseman. Although he is like 28, he's still cheaper, $10 million, as opposed to who knows, what a guy like Bregman will get. And he's a 280 hitter with, 12 home runs. Now, I know the power still isn't insane, and it probably will never be insane, but he's still a good hitter. Now, I don't like where he hits in the Phillies lineup. I've never liked him as the 4-hitter. He's not a 4-hitter. He's just not. He's not a power bat. He's a contact guy. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm actually I think Bohm's underrated. I don't even like Bohm, but I do think he's underrated. I think that a lot of the Philly fans jump all over him, but he's realistically a solid hitter, a 285 hitter. He's a good hitter. And he's a solid defender, too. So I don't hate him. I'm not going to go out and hate him. Now, I do think he should be traded because, first of all, what are the chances he resigns? I don't think the chances are very high. Now, who knows what can happen over the next year, but, yikes, I don't think he'll resign, right? And then, he is good buddies with Marsh, which I'm saying trade Marsh as well. So I think you can trade both of those guys this offseason. Try to be creative and shake up the lineup like they said they would. I'm hoping they do because the same lineup over and over again is not working, and they need to learn that. And it's pretty simple to learn, really. It is. So the other news that happened just after the Brad Keller news, probably about 30 to 40 minutes later, is the Mets go after another Yankee. They signed Luke Weaver, 2 years, 22, the same contract as Brad Keller, the right-handed pitcher. I think a solid move for the Mets. He was kind of up and down last year. He had a great start to the year. Then he got hurt, came back, and really just struggled since then. But what is it with the Mets, man? They're taking Yankees. They took Williams. They took him. They took Soto. What are we doing? The Mets are not, I don't know what they're doing there. I'm assuming they're going to be a little bit irrelevant. I'm hoping they don't have a little power of friendship story. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll be irrelevant. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said irrelevant. I think that they'll be relevant, but I don't think they'll be as relevant as the Braves and the Phillies. The way too early division prediction, I have the Phillies winning it, but I do think the Braves are going to be back in the playoffs next year after a couple of years out. So it's exciting. So we go to the offseason. Everybody's looking at it. Everybody's like, oh, Kyle Tucker. Oh, Kyle Schwarber. Oh, Pete Fairbanks. Let's go out and get them all. Well, obviously, I don't think Tucker's in the equation anymore. I don't even know if he ever was. I think that he would have been if Schwarber. That's what the rumor was. He was the fallback option for Schwarber. Schwarber resigns. I like the signing for Schwarber. I think that it's solid. He's a good leader. He's a DH. You know, he's only getting what a $5 million, $10 million raise. So it's not like it's an insane amount of money for him. I think it's a good deal for the Phillies. Again, the biggest thing is he's the clubhouse leader. So let's talk Flyers. The Philadelphia Flyers. How about them? They're going absolutely insane this year. Looking good early on, and I have watched every game. I'm a huge hockey fan. I think hockey is probably my favorite sport. Now, I sat down and watched that game yesterday because I love to see Montreal lose. The Flyers defeat Montreal 3-2-1 yesterday, to improve to 17-9-6. Now, I don't know that this team's going to be great in the playoffs. We go to overtime a lot, and we go to shootouts a good amount of time. That doesn't mean too much. There has been insanity runs where teams just kind of go crazy out of nowhere, but this team's locker room is incredibly tight. And yesterday, people that really hate Rick Tocchet, I'm not a huge Rick Tocchet guy early on in the season, and I don't like what he's doing with the power play, and I don't like what he's doing with Michkov. But you can say that he has built something here, a kind of tolerance. He's built a kind of strategy for the team. They're a team that's not going to back down, despite being very young, pretty small too. They're not going to back down. You see them sticking up for each other left and right. That's what Tocchet wants. He wants it to be a family. Now, Tortorella forged this. Tortorella, that's the reason I wanted him in the first place. I was for Tortorella when they signed him because the team wasn't going to make the playoffs when they signed him. There was no chance they were. I wanted him to help with the young guys, help the rebuild, get them in shape, teach them defensively, right? That's what I wanted. And he did a good job of that. And he, again, forged that locker room together. They love each other. It's a great locker room presence. You add guys like Zegers, Vladar, this offseason, Dvorak. All three are thriving. You take a look at Danny Briere's tenure as the Flyers general manager. I think he's done pretty well. Now you can argue with the draft picks. Hey, he hasn't drafted this guy. He passed on him. He passed on him. That might be true, but you can never judge a rookie too early. Never. Ceilings are a prediction. Ceilings are never official. The highest NHL scouts have gotten ceilings wrong before. What did they say Kaprizov was going to be when they drafted him? Right. Probably nothing. That's why I'm not a huge fan of when people are like, well, Jet Lachenko's ceiling, he's a second-line center. You never know. I mean, he could step up. You never know. I'm not saying he is going to be a first-line center and a future Hall of Famer. I'm not saying that at all. He might be worse. He might not even be on the team ever. But ceilings have been incorrect before, and they always will be, because it's not a sure look. It's looking into the future and saying, hey, this guy's going to suck. Right? You can't do that too early. You can't. And that's what I like. So the draft picks, I'm going to say this. I think he has passed on a good amount of talents. There's a good amount of players that I probably wanted that Danny Briere missed. But you can't deny that Danny Briere, via trading, via signing, he's done a great job. A great job since he's become the Flyers general manager. He's come in, right, his first season, he signed Poehling, he signed Hathaway, and I believe that was it for that season. Both of them were good additions. Poehling, we'll see why in the future, but a very good penalty killer, a very good player. He came out of nowhere. Everybody was like, who's this guy? Well, he's doing great. They extended him anyways, a 1.25 AAV. Hathaway was always a good fourth-line player until this season. He then goes out, he trades Provorov for a first, and in that trade he received Sean Walker. Sean Walker then plays well with the Flyers. He trades him for a first. That's what I like to see. That is good moves from Danny Briere. There's only a couple trades that I wasn't a fan of. My least favorite one last year. I was just thinking about this last night. It's Flyers legend Andrei Kuzmenko. I was thinking about him. I do miss him sometimes. I was a pretty big Kuzmenko guy when they traded for him. I was like, this guy's going to have a bounce back year. He's going to play so good. And excuse me. They traded him for a second or third. It was like, man. I'm thinking about Michkov and the line that he's been on, and I'm like, man, if only Kuzmenko was on this team. If only. But again, the biggest trades this offseason has been easily his best offseason, Danny. Right? He went out, he signed Vladar. He went out, he signed Dvorak. He went out, he traded for Zegras. He traded a second, I believe it was a fifth, and Paling for Zegras. Zegras is having already, he's on the brink of a career year. He's on pace for 85 points. That's really, really good stuff. And it's exciting because I'm a huge Trevor Zegras fan. When they traded for him, I knew it. There's stuff there. There's a ton of talent there. A new coach, a new system, a new team. Back with his buddy Drysdale. He already knows York. He fits right into the locker room. Everybody loves him. He's a huge locker room presence for them. Just everything you need and more. And I would say he's the team MVP, but I'd say it's 50-50 between him and Vladar because another guy people were upset with. Hey, why did you guys go out and sign Vladar? He has an 8.98 save percentage, blah, 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 blah. I was one of the very, very few people that liked that signing. I liked Dan Vladar last year with the Flames. I liked him in previous years. I said he's a solid backup. He's a solid goalie. When they signed him, I was surprised because I didn't think they were going to sign him. I thought they were going to go after more of a different goalie, such as the former Flyers goalie who's out in Buffalo. Oh, my God, what's his name? Number 34. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I thought they were going to go out and sign him. And again, I would not have been mad about that because he's been good. Alex Lyon, there it is. He's been a good goalie over the past couple of years, and I would not have been mad if they signed him. But I loved the Dan Vladar signing, and right now, I'll tell you what, my prediction has really worked out because he's played at a Vezina level. He's played so good. Yesterday, he stopped about 3 to 4 goals that could have gone in. Great scoring chances. He was amazing again yesterday. Uses his size. He's pretty quick. He knows he's very, very smart. One thing I didn't know about Vladar, I saw him play. I don't look at how smart he is on the ice. I just watch the highlights, right? I never knew how smart he was. The hockey IQ is insane there. They've had a couple OT winners where he's putting the puck down and playing it down the ice. He's being really smart. He's not stopping play. He's not causing faceoffs. Keep the possession. Making good plays. And again, you always hear Boosh rave about it on NBC Sports, raving about it. Hey, you notice what he does on the goal line. He knows he's able to come out. He doesn't have to come out too much. He's done so well with the Flyers. And again, Christian Dvorak, 22 points. This guy's been great for us. Winning faceoffs left and right. Now, I'm not saying, I heard the rumor the other week, they were looking to extend him. I don't think that they should extend him. But I do think it's been a good signing for them. And again, it's only a 1-year, $5.4 million contract. I remember people were upset. Why'd they sign him for that much? That's a lot. Overpay for Dvorak. They saw something there. Danny Briere is, again, doing a good job. That's what I like about him. Now, I do wish him and Jonesy would step in on Michkov. Telling Tocchet, hey, Rick, you gotta play Michkov more. If you want Michkov to start producing, you need to put him on a line with people that can actually play with him, that have similar styles. Stop using him as a fourth line, third line player because he's not. I know he came in out of shape. Say what you want to say. I understand that. But there's no denying the talent there. There's absolutely no denying the talent. The work ethic is also there. Again, he came in out of shape. So there's an argument against that. But you hear about what he says. I want to spend the summer in Voorhees. I want to spend, the break in Voorhees, the break coming up. That's good to hear. He's so young. He's 20. He was 20 coming into the season. Give him some time, Flyers fans. I'm tired of seeing on X, hey, let's trade Michkov. Hey, Stop. Stop talking about it. He's in year 2. Did Bedard have an overly insane year 2? No. Right? Bedar's been crazy this year. Obviously, he got hurt, which absolutely stinks because he was having a great year. I feel so bad for Chicago fans because he's the guy for them. Without him, that team is yikes. That team is pretty bad. And Spencer Knight. When they traded for Knight, I was impressed. I do like that move for them. But Bedard he's the guy, and the fact that he's hurt and now is going to miss a lot of time till January, it really does. It stinks. It stinks. It just flat out stinks. Now, today the Flyers broke my heart right before the Brad Keller trade. It was about 20 to 30 minutes before that. Not trade sign, sorry. They announced Tyson Forster had surgery on Monday and will miss 5 months, meaning he is out for the regular season. Now, if they make playoffs, I don't want to jinx anything. There's a chance he can come back, but he will be missing the rest of the season, which absolutely stinks because he was having a breakout season. I've always been a huge fan of Tyson Forrester, the way that he plays, and I was so upset to see that he got hurt, how he got hurt, and it truly does. It truly does stink. I really wish that it never happened, but it happened, and the team's been playing well without him. That's what matters. They're not losing games because of him. He's a huge player in the locker room and a huge player on the ice, and I can't wait till next year to have him back. I'll say that, with Martone, by the way. So yeah, I mean, the win last night was huge against the Canadiens. They go out beating a team in the Eastern Conference, and they had the rookie goalie Jacob Fowler in net. Their only goal by Texier. I don't know what happened there. He was wide open in the slot. That's a tough save for Vladar. But a win. They beat them, and it was a great game for the Flyers. I thought they played their best. The third period was a bit iffy, but a win is a win. They went away. They win it 4-1 final. TK with the OT winner. Let's hop over to a very touchy subject right now, because this is the 4for4 podcast, which means we talk about 4 teams. Let's get to the touchy subject, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles defeat the Raiders 31-0. These games are on your schedule for a reason. Everybody has bad teams on their schedule. Everybody's going to play a bad team at least once a year. They win 31-0. It doesn't get me hyped up at all. It's a win. You need to win those games. Don't get me wrong. These are the games you need to win. But it still doesn't make me forget about losing to the Chargers. Losing to the Cowboys. Right? 2 teams that you should have beat. Losing to the Bears. You should have beat those teams. Hurts had his worst game of his career, I think, right? It's the Chargers. It's a tough one for Jalen. I have a very interesting opinion on Jalen Hurts. My opinion is very medium. It's in the middle. I think Jalen Hurts is an above average QB. I don't think he's the worst quarterback of all time. I don't think he's top 5. I put him right around from anywhere from 15 to 7 in my rank of quarterbacks. I do think Eagles fans overrate him a lot of times, because you can't just look at the quarterback. You do need to look in other places. You can't just forget that over the past couple of years, he's had the best O-line, he's had the best receivers, he's had the best running back. Well, before Saquon, no, but still. You can't just forget about that. But you also can't forget that he played really, really well in both Super Bowls. In the playoffs, he steps up. That's why I don't hate him. I think that he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league, and I don't think he's top 5. But I do think he's better than a lot of people think. It's a very touchy subject, Jalen Hurts. For whatever reason, a lot of people get upset when you call him bad, and then a lot of people get upset when you call him good. It's a pretty 50-50 thing. I don't know what it is. I think he's right in the middle. I'm right in the middle there. I think that he's right in the middle. He's a good quarterback, and they do win a lot of games with him, whether you like it or not. They do win a lot of games with him. I'm not going to overrate him. I'm not going to underrate him. I'm putting him right in his spot. With that being said, now the head coach I've never been a fan of. Never. Nick Sirianni is, in my opinion, one of the worst coaches in the NFL. And people may call me ungrateful for saying this. People may call me a lot of different things. Nick Sirianni didn't do anything last year. Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio were in control of that team last year. He's a pushover head coach. He's terrible. He has no creativity whatsoever. Both years they went to the Super Bowl, the coordinators were in charge. Both years that they started spiraling, and now I'm not saying they're spiraling this year, but they started. So both those years, he was the voice of the offense. Brian Johnson and Patullo are both they have a voice in the offense, but I'd say it's probably about 50-50. the offense doesn't get any better. I think Sirianni is a product of being carried every season. I do. I think that he's got a great team, and when he has great coordinators, this team wins Super Bowls. Can go to Super Bowls. That's what I think. I don't think he brings much. Now, the players like him, but at the same time, he's a pushover head coach. He's he's weird on the sideline. You see him yelling at the other team's quarterback. Like, dude, you're a head coach. What are you doing? Stop. Setting a bad example for the team. Now, they're all adults. They're all making a lot of money, too. But he's a pushover. He barely runs the team. You see Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown call the shots half the time. That's something that needs to kind of stop. Like, Mike Tomlin's not letting them call the shots. He's calling the shots. I'm not a fan of Sirianni. Just throwing that out there. I think Nick Sirianni is just kind of an okay head coach in this league. There's a lot of guys that would take over him, I'll tell you that much. They versed the Commanders this week after defeating the Raiders 31-0. There is some momentum there. The Commanders shut down quarterback Jaden Daniels for the rest of the season. I am very high on Jaden Daniels. I will say that. I do like him. I thought last year he was very good. I thought this year he was solid before getting hurt. He is a little bit skinny, but he does have a good arm, good precision, and he's a great playmaker as well. They got to get him in a line, and they need to build that team and make it younger. It's too old right now. It's way, 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 way too old. With that being said, he's shut down for the rest of the year, so Eagles legend Marcus Mariota is going to have to come in and start the rest of the season. So it should be a win. I don't want to jinx anything, but we're better, so we better not lose to this team or even make it close. We're the better team by far. The final thing I'm talking about today is the Philadelphia 76ers. Last night, the Knicks defeated the Spurs in the NBA Cup. I didn't watch it. I don't really care about the NBA Cup, if I'm being honest with you. Congratulations, Knicks fans. You got a trophy. Cool. It's not the trophy, though. Talk about Tyrese Maxey. 31.5 points per game right now. 47% field goals. Tyrese Maxey should be an MVP candidate. I know that the league is stacked with potential MVP candidates right now, but he should definitely be one. Now, I know he's missed the last two, but doesn't change anything. Great player. Loves playing the game, too. You can just see it, the joy in his smile as he steps on the court every day. This guy's grateful to play basketball every day of the week. That's what I love about him. That's what the city loves about him. I'm also really high on VJ Edgecombe. Get my opinion in there. I'm a huge Edgecombe guy. And I know he's struggled as of late. Doesn't change anything. The guy has power. I compare him to Anthony Edwards coming out of the draft, and I'm still going to. I think there's a lot that he can work on, but at the same time, I think that he's a really, really good. He's going to be really, really good, and I think that a future of Max and him is huge. Two very talented players. Now, McCain, I'm also pretty high on, but he's got to start shooting again, getting that confidence back. A couple games this year where he's put up 15, 16 points, but he's got to also lock in. He's another exciting player, though. So, yeah, a lot to talk about over the next couple of days. MLB free agency will keep going on. Murakami is expected to sign pretty soon. He's coming up. 5 days, I believe, is his deadline. The Eagles play Saturday, 5 o'clock against the Commanders. Flyers won last night. They get the night off tonight, and then they go to Buffalo tomorrow to take on the Sabres. That game is on ESPN too. National TV game tomorrow night. And then finally the Sixers. Sixers play in 2 nights. On December 19th, it's Friday against the defending NBA Cup champions, the New York Knicks. Okay. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed episode 1. I hope to create more. Um, but I think today was a pretty good episode. And we'll get right back into it for episode 2. There won't be an official date. I will post it on the Instagram, Twitter. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you follow. You want to turn on notifications.